I've never played Pikmin in my life before. I got to know the series when I played Smash Bros. Brawl as a kid, but I never paid much attention to it, since it had a freaking space pilot, laser shooting fox, and a freaking Charizard to toast a middle schooler alive. At first, I didn't want to play it. Usually this is not the type of game that I enjoy. RTS and strategy games don't really click with me, and this weird ass game is not super cool and welcoming, to be completely honest here. But as the years passed, as I started to watch Arlo a lot, I got to know more of the series, and may I say, the way some of these YouTubers talk about this game had an effect on me. Slowly, I started to think this game might be some out-of-body experience.
But something about Pikmin is special.
And might be super underrated. And I started to think about playing it. And then I pulled the trigger. When starting the game, the first impression I got was how charming this game is. It has a very cool and almost nostalgic feel since the first cutscene. One thing though is that it looks very dated graphic-wise. It does look like a 20-year-old game. However, the art direction is impeccable, so it does a heavy lifting in this game's graphic power, not too jarring to the point of becoming a distraction to me. And there's also the point that I don't mind much about graphics, but yeah, the charm and art direction of this game is top tier. I love the theme of nature in this uncharted alien land, full of plants, grass and animals, and us in the middle. In the beginning, the game makes sure to explain to the player the basics and mechanics at a very good pace, in a way that I never felt overwhelmed by the amount of things I needed to learn. How Minions? I'll call Pikmin, how Pikmin work, how the controls work and whatnot. I liked how the game introduces the time limit of 30 days in a way that is not too aggressive in the beginning, but I liked having a deadline. It adds a little bit of pressure to make things work as fast and efficiently as possible. This game is not hard at all, but the added time speculation makes up a lot of the thrills when you're just about to return a ship's part when the countdown to the end of the day is closing to 0. Oh, I did it. That was close, man. With all of these initial things that I loved about the game, it didn't really click with me at first. The beginning of the game is pretty slow, so in the first few minutes, it felt almost like a chore to go through the game. However, I think the way they did it was the perfect way. It may be the only way, since to introduce all of the mechanics and concepts to the player in a cool and chilled way, it needed to be slow. Otherwise, it'll become too much for the players. But yeah, pretty slow start. But once the game teaches you all the basics, gameplay features, mechanics and concepts, and takes off a little of the handholds, then it clicks. Learning each Pikmin individualities and weaknesses, and how the world throws at you puzzles in correlation with it, it's a blast to solve them. I love the combats as well. It feels so good to send your little squad or army of little fellas to fuck up some red frogs.
Gotcha, bitch!
Or to throw in the air to take out some fighting enemies. And when defeated, it's so freaking cool seeing them carrying the corpses of fallen enemies to the onion by themselves. Oh, speaking of onions, it is so satisfying collecting new Pikmin. Each combat has a risk and reward aspect. How much of my Pikmin I might lose in this fight? How many Pikmin will I get if I win? It adds up to the core elements of this game, managing the Pikmin accordingly with your goals and risks, and being able to pull off multitasking effectively is one of the highest points of the game. Send blue Pikmin across the spawn to unroll a bridge across, send red Pikmin to kill all the enemies in the way, send yellow Pikmin to grab some bombs to blow up some walls, send another small group to a nearby grass patch to get some steroids and give them more HP, all at the same time. Seeing 30 Pikmin taking some corpses, dolphins bored by themselves, while you're running to the other side of the map to solve a puzzle or make way to another part of the map is beautiful. You feel like the ultimate target manager. One other thing that we unravel throughout the game is that we find many day-to-day regular things in this game, like a paper bag, batteries, and food cans, and it's so quirky and cool to see it from a such different perspective, as Olimar might be what? 2 inches tall? 3 inches tall? It is still big and impressive, and any lady would be lucky to have that. Anyways, the boss fights are very cool, but I feel like they lacked the impacts of kinds of presentation for them, something similar to classic 3D Zeldas. But overall, they're very different and creative, and I liked a lot of the ideas behind them, both in the theme of it as gameplay-wise. It's a little easy though, but very cool overall. The time mechanic that I liked a lot is Unforgiven as well. If you reach to the 30th day, it's over. No more time. I say that because to get the best possible ending, you'll need to gather all of 29 parts in all levels. And only then it'll open up the 5th map, with the last part and the hardest boss, and unlocking the best ending. In my playthrough, I reached the final day and I had still 2 more parts to collect. I was not worried because there was no other option for me that I was aware of. I looked at the stars symbolizing the parts of each level and I got every single one of them. I got the last 2 parts and got the cool ending where Olimar goes home. Then it bugged me that it was 30 parts and I only got 29, but I was confused by it since no more dark stars were not showing in the menu. So on the internet I found out that I needed to collect all 29 parts before the final day, and then it'll open up the last map. But by that time I had to play throughout the whole game again to manage that. So I did the sensible and right thing to do. Watched the gameplay online and saw the good ending that way.
Shame.
The first Pikmin in 2024 still holds up surprisingly well. It has so much charm, gameplay so freaking fun, beautiful art direction and satisfying mechanics. And all of that together builds an amazing game with an enticing collaboration of many different ideas and concepts. It's without a doubt a masterpiece. I'm really glad it's having its time in the light with the success of Switch and Pikmin 4, and I hope it keeps growing and having more and more fans. This is 2D. See you next time.